All right, so good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the family, we'd like to thank you for coming out to take a moment to celebrate the life of Christine Riggs. Can everyone hear me, first of all? Okay, good. It's been said that a person is known by the company they keep, and as I look at all these wonderful and caring faces, I feel like that's a really big testament to who Christine was, that wonderful and caring person that we all just remember in our hearts for many fabulous things. And we lost Christine unexpectedly on May 31st, and her family is so grateful for all the love and support that everyone has shown through this time. And thank you to everyone who's taken time to come out on this weekend to be here, as well as those who've even traveled from out of state. So on behalf of the family, we'd like to thank you for being here. My name is Chris. I went to high school with Leslie and Vaughn, and I've known Christine for probably close to 30 years now. And I knew Chrissy back when she was a blonde, so that was pretty long ago. And she was always that person who had this really kind, teaching heart to her. And I remembered this because the first time I got my license, I went to Leslie and Vaughn's house and got stuck in the middle of the road because I could not make a 3-point turn in a manual transmission. And Chrissy shot out of the house like a superhero. And she's like, I got you. And yeah, she taught me how to make a 3-point turn, but the most thing I remember is that I was not embarrassed. And she was like, that's cool, let me show you. And that was always her approach, as I will show you, I will be that teacher. And it was kind of like having a big sister that I could look up to. And she kind of had this weird sage wisdom, which is probably why I never won taboo against her. But yeah, she was honestly probably the coolest big sister that anybody could ever know. Christine Riggs was born on January 17th, 1969, and lived her entire life here in Riverside. She built a life surrounded by close family and many, many friends. She is preceded in death by her father, Robert Olgren, and is survived by her parents, Diane and Ned, her wonderful sister, Leslie, her amazing brother, Vaughn, and her 3 children, Hannah, Sabrina, Maddie. And also a lot of close friendships, not just friendships with work, but outside of work and with family. As you can see shown by this lovely board behind me, if you didn't get to see her and Jenna with that hairdo, please stop by this board. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. So, all right. So pretty much immediately after Chrissy passed away, so many people were asking about this service. And that's really inspiring because you want to know through this time that the person you love is remembered and that you are not alone in your grief. Everyone here has that moment, and we want to honor and celebrate that. And that is pretty much what we are trying to do here today. So for everyone to know, Christine is at peace. This service is for us to mark our loss and to remind ourselves of the impact that she made on all of us. So with that in mind, I would like to give you an idea of what the plan is for this afternoon. In a moment, I'm going to invite Aunt Chris, you're always Aunt Chris to me, up here to talk a bit about the events that led to Chrissy's passing. After that, a few family members have asked to speak, and then I'm going to extend the invite for all of you if you would like to share something, perhaps a story you know about Christine, maybe some of the last things that you had a conversation with, what's on your mind, anything. If you'd like, you can come up here, or if you'd like, you can raise your hand and I will fly to you with a microphone, and you can stand up and speak from your spot, whatever you're comfortable with. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, well, once everybody has an opportunity, I'm going to ask our family friend, Chris Wadley, to come up and close in prayer. So to summarize, I'm Chris, and I'm gonna pass to Chris, and then we're gonna close with Chris while we're celebrating Chris. Did I miss any Chris's? Did we get them? We got them all? We got them all. Okay, good. Awesome. So without further ado, let's start off with the lovely Aunt Chris.
was asked to do the hard part, going through and explaining to people what went on.
Can't hear you.
I think I should make sure this is turned on.
Put it up to your face. Turn it off.
No, it says it's on. Try it again.
Hello?
Leave it to me to do everything. Anyway, first ground rules are though, is if you start to cry, cry. As I once told a pastor at one of my close friend's mother's funeral, it only means that you loved someone and you loved them dearly. So don't ever, ever, ever apologize for that. Okay? So first ground rule is crying is cool. Okay? And also, I'm not as mean as I seem. So anyway, as we all know, Chris passed away. She was only 54 years old. And a lot of people have reached out, so this is why I'm being asked to explain kind of things going on. She did not have any chronic underlying health issues that we're aware of, but her overall health wasn't all that great, in part due to her eating habits or lack thereof. In her late 20s, she struggled a lot with her weight, so she got a gastric bypass, which complicated her life a little bit more. Because if any of you know anybody that has a gastric bypass, they struggle with anemia and, in Chris's case, also dehydration and things of that nature. She took up smoking in her early 30s, and why wait till you're 30? Of all the things to take up burning, something. And she was a heavy smoker for decades, a couple at least. And honestly, to her credit, she was sober for well over 13 years when she passed. And she'd also given up smoking when, like 2018. And within the past 5 years, she had been in and out of the hospital needing transfusions or IV fluids due to her dehydration. And early in 2019, this is news to me, she suffered a heart attack, which she kept quiet because Chris was never one to like people to feel sorry for her for any reason whatsoever. And in the same year, she had a few other health scares, including she lost consciousness at work. And she was also hospitalized for dehydration again. She also underwent treatment for a hernia and a bleeding ulcer. And in 2020, she underwent an emergency gallbladder surgery. Which again will make you have to change your eating habits, but she needed to eat in order to change them. She was regularly hospitalized to get fluids, which we all kind of think and blame on her bypass because it's really tough to live with that afterwards. And her eating habits and medications. So when she was hospitalized on Memorial Day, we were all concerned, but not surprised because it happened a few times. And nobody thought we were in danger of losing her. She was admitted on Saturday, and on Sunday and Monday, she was stable, but she hadn't been improving. So on Tuesday, they moved her into the ICU. And unfortunately, on Wednesday morning, she stopped breathing on her own, so they had to put her on a ventilator. The doctors told everyone that her dehydration and she was also, her potassium was extremely low, and both of those things combined together are not really good. So her organs weren't working the way that they should be, so things were starting to shut down. And because of her severe dehydration, it resulted in delirium, which also makes your body not know what to do correctly she had breathed in some fluids, which led to her pneumonia, and her blood pressure had dropped severely to dangerous levels. And the doctors were not sure how long they could keep her on the ventilator and keep her heart beating because it was that severe. So they kept her alive on a very high level of life support. In other words, she was on the ventilator. And Leslie was one of the people that called me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and said, you know, if you want to come and say goodbye, please. So everybody that could come did come, and we waited for the last person before they took her off the ventilator. And then I was very lucky to have been in there after they took her off the ventilator, because it was important to me to be with her when she passed, because I don't think anybody should ever have to die alone. So thankfully, after they took her off the ventilator, she died within a few minutes, very quickly, so she didn't have to suffer. And she is at peace. And according to her official cause of death, it was acute hypoxic respiratory failure. And the second thing was pneumonia. And it's because her lungs were not putting enough oxygen out into her system, into her organs and muscles and everything for her to stay alive. Is there another Chris?
Thank you, Aunt Chris. Okay, and now we're going to pass to Diane, Chris's mom. Take your time. You're good. No, I don't, but I will pick you up.
Thank you. That's nice.
Okay, hello everybody. You beautiful people. I'm thinking about that when you go to a church, you develop a community. And you are Chris's community. You're all the people that she loved all in one place, and that's powerful. That gives us power here and now, because she loved you all, each and every one of you, and you know that. That's what's great. You knew that. And I am so proud that she developed those relationships with you, because that's just the kind of kid she was. You know that too, right? Now I only have a few seconds, so I'm going to say my heart. As a Christian, the thing that I look forward to most is in 2 Corinthians 5:8, where it talks about absent from the body, present with the Lord. And I know that's where my daughter is, and I envy her. I'm that old that I envy her. And my heart is just so happy that I will see her again. And if that is what you're looking towards, please develop that trust in Jesus. And I thank you so much for putting up with that. I love you all a lot. Thank you for coming. You all just break my heart. I'm looking at you, little tears are coming down. But my granddaughters, they're just awesome. She loved you so much. Her siblings, she adored her siblings. Maybe too much. She snuck him in to see. She snuck him in to see Terminator. They were about this tall. They were just little, and then I didn't find out for the longest time why Vaughn was having all those nightmares. She pulled a few stunts, but overall, she was a wonderful girl and a great mom. Okay, so thank you for being here, and enjoy the food later, because I bet it's going to be good.
Thank you, Diane. And now we're going to hear from Sabrina. I know. Who thought? Would you like me to hold your Beyonce fan for you? Okay. All right. Here's Sabrina.
All right. Can you guys in the back hear me? Yeah. Okay. So it looks like I have a lot of papers, but I double spaced. Don't worry. Size a million. All right. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if you would have expected this many people. To be honest, I didn't. So But also for those of you who don't know who I am or don't recognize me, I'm Jeannie. I'm the middle child. So there's a show called BoJack Horseman that I love. I tried to bully my mom into watching it, but she like refused to. She got to episode 3 and gave up. Even I got a tattoo from the show and she still wouldn't watch it. But in the show, BoJack's mom dies in the ICU, and they had like a tumultuous relationship growing up. But even in it, he says, "My mom is dead, and everything is worse now." As you'll hear from everyone, for the last like 30 years, all she really cared about was 3 things: me, Hannah, and Maddie. She did everything she could to make us happy. She paid for all the band trips, all the choir trips, Maddie's new saxophone, and she would use her 30-minute lunch break to come pick us up and take us home for like a couple miles. And this year she took a pay cut to take Maddie home the 1 mile because she didn't want Maddie to walk. I feel like I understood my mom more than anyone else here, not to brag. But I talked to her all the time, every single day. We had the same diagnosis. We didn't have the best childhoods. And quickly after I developed my chronic illness, she started getting sicker a lot frequently. However, on top of that, she was also a single mom holding it together for all 3 of us. And she had a kid around Hannah's age at my age. So I like really couldn't for her. She had a kid around my age and it was Hannah. My favorite memory of my mom, it's not when we were at Hawaii with a beautiful sunset on the ocean. We worked in the same building for like 8 months and we'd go to the smoking section and she had just given up smoking, but I was vaping. And she'd sit there and lecture me about how it's not fair that I could vape and she can't. And we talk about everyone and everything. We sit and gossip and talk shit. So it was pretty great. And at that point, it was 2 15-minute breaks every single day, and we lived together. And we shared a room because it was right when I moved back. But still, those little conversations. Oh, a funny memory I have is Maddie snitched on my mom and told me that my mom doesn't like my tattoos. And so I confronted her and I was like, I have like 30. So which ones don't you like? And the most one she does not like is this one on my front calf. And it's from the movie The Witch. Don't know if you guys have seen it. Pretty good movie. There's a goat and it's surrounded in fire, which I get is pretty abrasive and why she wouldn't like that one, especially the goat. But the fire around it, Robbie raised me for quite some time, and right around when he teaching me to draw the number 8, he also taught me how to draw fire, and I still draw it like that to this day. So I was like, but it's so sentimental. It's such a great tattoo. And she was like, also, I'm shaky, don't know. Okay. So here comes the sad part, right? Here. To be honest, I was procrastinating writing this. It's been a month since she died, and it doesn't feel real yet. I'd only really see her on Tuesdays and Sundays, and I think that's a big reason why. We mostly just texted, so like I keep going to text her and be like, ooh. But Tuesdays, I go to her office building still. And I'd usually just go find her and we'd have lunch. And I'd stay with her and talk for like as long as I could without getting in trouble for my boss. But now I go in the building of like hundreds of people. I went to see her every day she was in the hospital in the ICU. The last time I had an actual conversation with her was when I first saw her Saturday. She went in and I brought her her phone charger, and I was just like, day before she died, and she was really out of it. So I brought up things she loves, like Maddie and her cat, baby Kitty. And she said, Maddie's turning 16 soon. She's such a good girl. And I'm so lucky that those were our last words. But my mom said everything is worse now. That's it.
Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, and now we're gonna pass to Chrissy's sister, Leslie. You ready? I think all of us were until beanies, to be honest.
I was fine. Hey, one sec. My sister would have loved this, you guys. I know she would. So the cape. But she would have loved a fabulous funeral hat. Sorry, I know better with the mic. Let me open my cape. Okay. Knock, knock. Who's there? Broken pencil. Broken pencil who? Doesn't matter, it's pointless. That is the type of cutting-edge humor I've been deprived of since my sister left. She sent me the worst jokes all the time. And like that joke she sent me, and I said, who's there? And she said broken pencil in all caps. And she was so proud of herself. But I miss it more than I thought I would. My sister and I were very close, and we'd actually talked about what her wishes were for her funeral. But there was no way we could fit this many people in a Del Taco. It's strange to be in this situation because there's a million things I could share about my sister. She taught me how to tie my shoes. She taught me how to drive a stick. She taught me how to change a tire. She taught me that if you do something wrong, you have to go tell mom directly, because if she finds out about it from someone else, she's going to be way more mad. Which is really funny because she totally ratted Lana and I out when we got tattoos. Like she texted me, that's how old I am. She texted me, 911, 911, and she's like, I told mom about your tattoos. Thanks, sis. I had a lot of time to think over the last few weeks, and the very, very first thing that I remember my sister teaching me was that every person on planet Earth knows the words to the chorus of Kenny Rogers' hit song, The Gamble. We were in a Kmart, and the song was on, and I was little, and I said, I love this song, I know this song, and she's like, sis, everyone knows this song. And she had me listen, and I could hear people in the store sing, and even the backup parts. So it's like, you got to know when to hold them, and I was like, that's amazing. So that's like legit the first thing I remember her teaching me. On the day my sister passed away, I had nothing to say to her except, I love you, and dang it, sis, I'm not ready for you to go. Interestingly enough, one of my friends is coping with apparent mental health. And so a few weeks before my sister passed away, we had been chatting about the importance that people put on a final goodbye. And I said, I don't get it. I'm not saving up something to say. Like, unfortunately, I don't have like a secret safe full of money or anything like that. Sorry. I don't withhold my feelings, which isn't always a good thing. But when I found myself facing the imminent passing of my sister, it was still true. We shared countless I love yous. We were always openly grateful for each other, and there was nothing that had gone unsaid, except one thing, which I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to let it go. But I need to think about it. 'Cause I am. So, the only thing that I hadn't said to my sister is this. She and I often plan to see big movies together, the opening weekend. And in 2019, a small film you may have heard of was coming out called Endgame. It went on to become the second highest grossing film of all time. And we had made plans to see it on a Saturday with her family. Well, after we made these plans, my husband and I had the opportunity to go see the red carpet premiere. And I was screaming. And I say, Greg, we're gonna go to the red carpet of Endgame. And he, being a much better person than I am, said, we already have plans to see it with your sister. Can't be a flake. So I called my sister and I said, hey, are we still on for Saturday? And she said, you know it. I said, do you want any candy from Dollar Tree? And she's like, yeah, give me some Reese's Pieces and some plain M&Ms. And I was like, okay. So you can imagine my surprise 2 days later when I see on Facebook that she's at Endgame on Thursday without me. She hadn't even given me a heads up. And I'm fuming, and my family says, well, maybe she wants to see it twice. I think you will know where this is going. Saturday came, we're at the movies, I get a text. I'm not up to it. Sabrina and Maddie don't want to go. Hannah and I already saw it. But save a seat for Uncle Russ. And I did. And he was a delight to sit by because he doesn't talk and he brought candy. So it wasn't a loss. On the day she passed, I sat next to her and I shared my deathbed confession with Sabrina. And it was instantly apparent to me why I'd never said anything to my sister. I knew she would be madder about it than I was. I didn't want her to feel guilty. And I'm so grateful that we had that kind of relationship. Over the past few years, my family and I have traveled with Chrissy quite a bit. Pre-COVID, we did some local trips to Arizona and San Francisco, which were great. We went to Disney in 2020, Disney World, and she did not have a good time. We went to Hawaii in 2021. I made her do a blacklight night dive with mantas. She really, really did not have a good time. Last summer, we traveled to London and Paris. 2 days into the trip, she said it was her last trip. And that was even before we had to cross the Canadian border on a senior citizen casino tour bus to get home. These trips were just too exhausting for her, and she told me she didn't regret going. She just wanted to be home. And in our grief, I talked to a lot of people, family, friends who were close to her, and we all keep echoing that. We weren't ready for her to go, but I really feel she was. She loved her people. At the end of the day, she just wanted to be home. I'm happy to say that she can relax now because this is the most at home she's ever going to be. I wanted to leave you all with one piece of life advice that I think we all know to be true. You got to know when to hold them, know when to hold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting for the deal in time. Thank you for coming, and mostly thank you for loving my sister.
Okay, at this time, we're going to open it up to anybody else who would like to say something. If you like, just raise your hand. I will come to you. Don't be shy. Oh, okay. You might have to tell everybody who you are. I'm just saying. Okay.
My name is Barbara, and I worked in front of Christine, and if you look in front of her for 6 years, we have a script that before we would take the grade, not knowing that she would take the first. I just want to, a couple of things I want to say I'm sorry for. I'm sorry for never watching the movie Zoolander. You never forgave me for that. I'm sorry for never watching it. And you never forgave me for that either. But I love you because we had to play movies every day in the clinic for life. And my favorite movie was The Holy Dynamite. So she made sure that she played every single day. I love her so, so much. We're both Capricorn, so that was a yes right there. And she never would ask for help, but she was always willing to help other people. That's one thing I loved about her too. Sometimes it made me so mad knowing that she needed help and she wouldn't ask, and I had to find out after the fact. So I'm truly going to miss her, even though I retired before, they moved the clinic and everything like that, and I didn't get to see her as much. I adopted 3 children, and I had an adoption party for her, for them, and the day of that, she came early in the morning to help me set up, and she stayed there until it was over to help me set up. And that's just how she was, and I will never, ever forget her. Love you, Maddie, Sabrina, Hannah, all you guys, because I've heard all the good stories and the bad stories. So yeah, I love you guys. Thank you.
Do you want to fill this Capricorn in here? Would you like for another Capricorn? Okay. I won't. Greg, everybody, yeah.
Hello, everybody else. Check. Hello, there. Hi, I'm Greg, and for those who don't know me, I am Christine's sister, Leslie's husband. And it's funny, because Chrissy would have loved how that kind of sounds like a Spaceballs reference. As I'm sure everyone here knows, Chrissy was an amazing person with a very good heart. There are so many things I could talk about when it comes to remembering her, but I want to share a couple stories that are special to me. Leslie and I had been dating for about 2 years when I decided that I was ready to ask her to marry me. We were living together at the time, and I planned to get away for the two of us when Millie was going to be with her grandparents for the weekend. All the plans were made, and we just needed somebody to care for our dog, and I knew exactly who it was. Chrissy was always there for us. No matter what we needed, she was just a call away. So I called her up and asked her if she would watch our dog, and she happily said yes and asked me why I needed the help. And I told her I was taking Leslie away for the weekend to propose, and without skipping a beat, she was like, "Are you sure?" She's kind of crabby. And at the time, I just laughed and said, "Yes, I'm sure." But over the years, I spent some time reflecting on that moment. Chrissy had this amazing ability to see people for exactly who they are, with all of their flaws, and still show them love, kindness, and forgiveness anyways. I'm sure all of her behavioral health colleagues know that and would agree with me. The gift she gave so willingly is the one that I love the most about her. Another thing I've realized about the "Are you sure?" question was the tone that she used when she said it. She was dead serious. I'm Leslie's third husband, and Chrissy wanted to be sure that I understood what I was committing to, and that I needed to love her like she did, absolutely fiercely. The fire that is in my life, that Chrissy was referring to on that phone call, is something that I both fell in love with and suffer with every day. Chrissy, like myself, recognized that beauty in Leslie, and we both love her very much for it. I will always be grateful for the relationship Chrissy had with Leslie as well. A large part of the reason that my wife is the 80s girl is because of Chrissy. One of my favorite stories about their childhood together is Chrissy was sharing her love for the song "The Killing Moon" by Echo and the Bunnymen. And Leslie would love the song so much she would always beg her sister in her little kid voice, "Sissy, put on the Thick and Thin song." And she would, and Leslie would love it. And I cherish hearing these stories because I get to see a little window into their relationship together, and I get to know more about my wife as a child. And when I think of Chrissy and see her influences in my wife, I'll always remember her. She'll never be forgotten, and I'm very blessed for that. Sometimes in life you miss things in the moment, but with time and maturity you can look back and gain more clarity. What I didn't quite fully understand at the time I was proposing to Leslie was that I was gaining a huge family, full of brothers, aunts, uncles, tons of cousins. I love all of you. But most importantly, you were right. Leslie said I wouldn't get to this part. Most importantly, something I'd ever had before, which is a big sister. It's a privilege to be a part of this family. I need to get through this, man. And it was an absolute honor to be Chrissy's sister. I'm gonna miss you, sister. Rest well.
Thank you, Greg. And now we are traveling over here to Randy, Chrissy's best friend. Everybody know Randy? Well, you're about to. Here you go.
Sorry. I'm not sorry because I'm crying. I have so many memories with Chris. When I first met it's just been an amazing ride having her in my life. She's my ride and die. She's my soulmate. She's my heterosexual life partner. You know? But through all of our ups and downs, because solid, good relationships always have them, we have laughed so many times, and we have cried together so many times. But I have to share with you what a little sneak she is. So in high school, I drove. I had a car, and we spent a lot of time at the Tyler Mall. All the OGs know it as the Tyler Mall, not the fancy Galleria, Tyler, whatever. But we would just walk around, and we would eat, we would look at the shops, and we always stopped off at Mrs. Fields Cookies and got the cones. Do you guys remember when they did the cones with the little cookies in there? This one time we had gotten the cones, and there was a bench outside of the Mrs. Fields, and we walked over, and we had this lighter, and we sat the lighter, we sat facing each other, and we sat the lighter in between us, and we sat cross-legged on this bench. And at the same time, we both went like this, and we started going, oh. And then we'd open our eyes and look around a little bit, and then we'd go, and we probably did that for about 10 minutes just to watch the people's reactions as they were looking at us. Then we went over to the Chinese food restaurant, you know, the little, I don't know, I don't even remember what it was called. But we walked in there, and we were sitting, there were seats that were facing the wall, and we were sitting next to each other. And we each have our meal, and we have a drink, and she's sitting there, she takes her chopsticks, and she puts this thing on my plate, and she goes, Rand, you gotta try this. She goes, it's really good. And I go, seriously, what is it? She goes, don't worry about it, just try it, you'll like it. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. As I am putting this in my mouth, she gently reaches over and grabs my soda and puts it way over here, only to find out it was one of those freaking hot peppers. And my eyes started to water, and I was screaming at her to give me back my soda, and she was laughing. But that was just our relationship. You know, some people might go, oh my gosh, that's so cruel. But no, that was us. That was the epitome. We could laugh at each other, we could cry at each other, we could yell at each other and love each other. And she was just my girl, and I miss her so much. So.
Thank you, Randy. Looking for hands? All right, we're gonna pass it on.
Short and sweet. I love my sister. She was always there for me. She was always playing no music, singing, but I miss her.
Thank you. Everyone, this is the fabulous hair Jenna, in case you forgot.
Oh, this is harder than I thought. You would not be looking at a whole person if it wasn't for my cousin Chris. I was so jealous of her growing up. She always had the coolest clothes. She had the wholest family. We were a bunch of ragtag kids in the Opert family. And my cousin Chris came from the most beautiful, artistic, intact family. My Aunt Diane and Uncle Ned were the envy of our entire world. So getting to have a front row seat of that family meant everything to me. Somehow I was able to wiggle myself into a spot on Harupa Road where my cousin proceeded to train me and teach me all the best, most important things about life, like Sergeant Pepper's Heart Club Band, and Harold and Maude, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which we were not allowed to go to, but we could shadow cast like the best of them. She taught me how to know the lyric to every song, and not just know how to repeat it, but to feel it. She has given me exquisite taste in media and music and food, of course. Body by Del Taco. She taught me how to drive a 3-speed column shifter El Camino. And the biggest trick was to see who could get change into the hole on the bottom of the floorboard. We just had an exquisite time together. I just don't think I could be who I am. I get so many compliments about being the life of the party, or the wordsmith, or a purveyor of all things interesting and exquisite and unique. And that is not me. I'm a hack. That was my cousin. And for a moment, as you can see by the shrine, I got to be the center of her world. We had some time in our latter years where we weren't spending as much time together. I know that it's true. Hannah Mackenzie Rock and Roll Riggs, Beanie, and Maddie were the center of her life, and really, that's all she had the energy for a minute. But I knew, even though she couldn't accept a lot of my invitations, I knew that she loved me, and I knew that she had really passed the torch to me. Because, a Tuesday for Chris and I were to get in the 3-speed column shifter El Camino and start at the Inland Center Mall and shoplift our way to Hollywood. That's the kind of stuff we did together. We were just audacious and crazy and fearless, and also incredibly inclusive. And I just know that her handiwork is on all of you. And I have a high call and charge and expectation from all of you too, that you would take every bit of love and devotion and all that help that she poured into our lives. And I charge every single one of you to go out and love well, like she did. She's poured so much into each and every one of us. We have no excuse but to be inclusive and loving and patient and long-suffering, especially with those that struggle. Because that's what she did, and that was her life. And she's had some really hard things happen in her life, but she always persevered. And she is my superhero. And I know that she will forever hold me in this life. I love you, Chris.
Thank you, Jenna. Oh, okay.
I don't need a microphone. I'm very loud.
Okay, you be loud.
I'm Uncle Mike, and what I'm going to do is get everybody to participate in something. You won't get it, but she'll get it. And it goes like this. It's 2 words. Fleagle bee. So when I count to 3, we're going to give her a fleagle bee. 1, 2, 3. Fleagle bee. She'll get it.
Thank you for that. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Oh, I'm sorry, Ned. I was looking that way, Ned. I'm so sorry. You don't need a microphone either. Okay.
For Uncle Mike, for Uncle Terry, and myself, we all got baptized because of her. favorite memory is Diane and I being in the living room and Chrissy coming down with the 45 yelling, "Have you heard this band?" One more Led Zeppelin record. Was it Stairway to Heaven? Pretty sure. Yeah. She was in the choir and I did sound.
Okay. Anybody else like to say something? You're on my way.
Real quick, Randy, when you brought up something about her being sneaky, let me tell you she was, but she wasn't always the smartest sneak, because most of you don't know that she almost didn't make it past 13. Because she had gotten into my room with our next door neighbor, who was her best friend at the time, Yvette. And she rummaged around in my things. And I used to have one of those, I don't even know what you call them. You had the little strip of plastic that you made names or labeled. It was a labeler, right? Well, she got in it, and I said, and I found it out of place. So I said, "Were you in my stuff?" And she says, no, not at all." Really? Do you know how many strips of that I found with hers and Yvette's name on it? She did everything, honestly, but peel them and stick them on things in my room. They were just everywhere. I found them in my bed, on the floor, in a drawer. But I have to say, the one thing about Chris is that she's the one that, everybody knows that she loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And she really is the one that introduced me to Buffy, because I never had seen it until then. And so I went out and bought the first set of DVDs because of her. And for my birthday, and she really was a marvelous artist as well. And for my birthday, she painted me one of the gentlemen from Hush, which was my favorite show out of all the Buffys. One of the favorite ones that I love that. And I hold that dearly in my heart, and it sits in a place of honor in my library.
Thank you, Mary Chris. I wasn't gonna bring up Buffy, and then you had to go there. I was telling Sabrina earlier, I think I owe Chrissy $50 because I bet her Spike and Buffy would never get together. Yeah, I know. I'm not smart. I'm not smart.
Hi, I'm Dolly. I'm Chrissy's cousin. And again, I hit it on the head. She was our idol. We envied her as children. But she taught us the coolest things. I remember being in that car right there in that picture. And her teaching me about The Cure. And about Depeche Mode. And about music that I still listen to this day. And I remember being on my grandma's porch and her teaching us the coolest dance moves, because she was a dancer, and just being so jealous of her for so long. And then as we grew up and I moved away, and I went through a lot of things, and when I got home, she was the first one to tell me, "Cousin, I'm so proud of you. Cousin, you did it. You did it." And she shared so much with me. I'm just so grateful that I was able to talk to her before she passed. And I'm so grateful for the relationship we have when we were kids. And Jenna, you have big shoes to fill. Oh, I know. And that's all I got. And I love you.
Please hold. I don't know why I went through the meeting. Hello. Ha, we got it. Okay, we're back.
All right.
Make hot tissue. Look at me. All right. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. It's okay. Okay. We're now gonna, oh wait, no, just kidding. I love your shirt.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nisha Elliott, and I was one of Christine's supervisors, bosses, when she left here in blessed heaven. And so I did not want to leave this moment and not tell you all that we so appreciate you sharing Christine with us. She was amazing. She blessed all of us in her own special way. She cherished all of us in her own special way. I will say this, that she told me, I'm quiet, but I'll talk to you when you talk to me. And I will say, she was very quiet. She talked to Izzy the most, but she was very, as I told her mom, very loud and vibrant with her compassion and how she cared for you. And if you said you wanted something, it was gonna be on your desk or in your hands. So she showed us her love in so many ways. We truly miss having her in our space every single day, but we honor her. All of us have a ribbon on our nameplates, on our doors, in our buildings, so that we will never, ever forget how she blessed us. So we say thank you again for sharing her, and we will forever miss her in our space. Thank you.
I want to say something. My condolence to all the family, and I guess the thing with Izzy is that she's always talked about Chris, and like Nisha said, she would only talk to me for some reason. I don't know what it was that I was able to get Chris to open up and like to come to work, and talking to Chris's mom, sharing that nice story. That made me feel really well that she would mention me to all the family how how I made it feel good, and then also not only that, she would share stories about her daughters, and I know that she loved her daughters so much, and I want to let you guys know, speaking to her daughters, that she loved you guys so much that every day she would just talk about how much she loved you, how much, like the stories that she would tell me that, the departure of Hannah. One day she was like, man, I wish Hannah did not do it for a while. I wanted to come back home. Like, my goodness. So she was just like, I want her back home to Maddie, with her band, doing so well. And I know so much about you. I never really met her. It's a pleasure of meeting you for the first time. And I've heard so much about you, how your success is. And I want you to continue to do your band and do well. And because your mom will love that. And I told your mom to send a message to you that I was proud of you, and I'm proud of you because I know how much your mom loved to support you and shop for you too. I'm like, what are you buying now from Maddie? Now $80 of a backpack? What's going on? So she loved you so much. She'll spend so much money on you. I was like, wow. But with me and Chris, we have so much good relationship. You guys don't know, me and her work very close together. 3 to 4 years in the conference center, behavioral health, running the conference center in the front, and so I'm just gonna miss her so much. Her presence, for the day, for the stories that she, for the good times that she shared with me when she bought her new car, when she was like, hey, you gotta come see my car. I said, we can't go outside because we're at work right now. But so we just left the conference center, and she was like, come outside, let's go to my car. So we let the other tenant. So we went out there. So we went out to see her new car. And we went, so I got my new car. Why did it come with the spare? I don't know what happened. So we went online to figure it out. So and then to the last moment, with her, I shared, Christine, she opened a lot. It was, a couple weeks before she passed. I know she had really great memories with her. We have a staircase coming down, and she started to sing. I never seen that side of Chris that she showed me, and I believe that she was starting to open up so much with our team and just being more talkative and being more open. I noticed some of the pictures she liked to stand behind everybody. I said, hey, you got to start going, stand up front. She wanted to make her presence felt, but she didn't need to because she knew how much impact she had to my life. She impacted my life so much, and I'm always going to cherish her and miss her presence. And like I said, she was full of joy, and she, like today, I had my moments because I know how much she meant to me. Like I felt like I was her brother, at work. So, but I want to thank you guys, the Riggs family, for bringing Christine to my life, and so it was a blessing to me. So, God bless all of you guys, and I'm here for you guys to talk or share more stories with you guys. So. Thank you.
Oh, I know this face.
Hi, I'm Madison. I'm the youngest. There's a lot of stories of my mom, as you all know. Since I was the youngest, I didn't get to see all of Mom's moments when she was in her prime and doing all these silly stories I'm just now hearing about. Like, oh my God, Mom, you did that? Like, why didn't you tell me? Anyway, my mom loves each and every one of you that are here. She tells me all these stories about you, and she would be so happy to see all of you guys show up. She wouldn't have expected this many people to show up, and I'm so thankful for the people at her work, especially. She tells me all the time about these stories when she gets home, because she picks me up from school every day, and she's like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened at work. And the entire way home, she's like, oh my God, this happened, and she's like, especially during like events at work, when she'd go early to go help set up stuff, she'd have a great time. She'd be telling me and buying all these things and be like, I get to decorate, I get to decorate. And she'd be so happy. And I'm so thankful for my aunt and Greg and all my cousins and everything. My mom told me so much. Every single day, my mom would come up to Aunt, be like, oh my gosh, me and Auntie were talking today every single day. They were constantly messaging, and I hear all these funny stories, and she'd constantly be like, I love my sister, and laughing and laughing. I'm very thankful for my two sisters, Hannah and Jeannie. Jeannie's always been my number one supporter for everything. Hannah, thank you for introducing me to so many things I like and taking me to all these fun places. And I'm thankful for my dad, and I'm just thankful for everybody. And my mom would be so happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. I'm going to slowly walk over here because I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, Chris, I think we're good. Okay, Chris Wadley, ladies and gentlemen, is going to close us in prayer. The final Chris. Yes.
Not just prayer, sorry. It would be really awesome if I had this like neat, all put together, really well thought out thing I was going to say, but just not the case. Like, I didn't think I was going to do this, but the first thing I feel the need to do is tell a story about Chrissy and Leslie. Especially since the name Chris has come up so many times today. The name Chrissy may have a meaning that you all don't know about. Leslie was probably 2 or 3, and she called her sister the B word. And her mother, Diane, gently explained to her that she could not call Chrissy that word, that she needed to use other words that were a little bit more appropriate. And Aunt Claudia told me that you got very, very mad at Chrissy and you were struggling because you knew you couldn't use that word, and she said, "Oh, you, Chrissy." I wrote some things down. Oh, you guys, this about Chrissy, how many times have you heard this? Oh, don't you just love? Oh, you gotta hear it. Do you know about? And I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I can, lemon chewing gum, sugar-free lemon chewing gum. That was from Chrissy. Cinnamon toothpicks. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to stop breastfeeding, and you're having a little trouble getting the girls to dry up, you can cut a cabbage in half, boil it, wait till it cools off, and So that's from Chrissy, because if Chrissy knows something, you got to know it too, right? If she's excited about something, she has to share it. And I want you to know that there's a big hole and there's crying because of great love. She loves you guys so much, and I'm not going to use the past tense because I fully believe that she is more Chrissy than she has ever been. She's creative, more creative, resourceful, more resourceful, quirky. You guys might not even know this. For about half a minute, and she performed, Chrissy played the bass. So, yeah, so talented, right? She had just so many talents that people didn't even always know about or suspect. I don't think there was anything that she wanted to do that she couldn't do. So I wanted to share that with you. They told me to share, they said I could share a story or a song or a prayer, and so of course I'm doing all those, and then also Claudia gave me some things to say. But I want to share a song with you guys, just a little piece of one. We all have our struggles, and Chrissy, as amazing as she is, did not always feel worthy, did not always feel lovable. And we used to sing on the worship team together, and there was a song I remember singing with her, and it just reminds me so much of her because I can hear her singing it. I'm going to just sing just a little snippet of it for you because I think it's probably the most important thing, and why I can confidently tell you that she's alive. Oh Lord, your loveliness melting my unworthiness. Oh Lord, I receive your love. Oh Lord, I receive your love. So I say this to you. Receive Chris's love, and receive God's love, even when you feel unlovable, because by golly, don't they both love you so much. Before the prayer, I'm going to read this from Claudia. I'm going to try to read it. She's technologically challenged. She tried to text me 4 times, and so I'm writing with this pen. First of all, I want to thank Diane for letting me be a part of her children's lives. All 3 of them have meant so much to me. Chrissy was the first. And Diane and I were practically children ourselves when Diane had Chrissy, and it was like having a little doll. We loved to play with her, to dress her up and take her places, and as she grew, we continued to love her more and more. She had a big heart, and she was always willing to help. When I moved to Alaska, that's Claudia, okay? She was about 9 months pregnant and insisted on helping me move. I kept telling her to sit down, but you know Chrissy, she wouldn't stop till she was finished. I want to say to Vaughn and Leslie and the kids that I love you all. I continually pray for you. This world's such a hard place. I pray that you can come to a relationship with Jesus where you can have peace. I am always available when you need me, and I will always love you and always pray for you. I'm going to close in prayer, and I do want to say that this is so difficult. It doesn't make sense. None of us expected it. Really hard. And yet again, big hole, big love. Lord, I know that Chrissy's with you. That there's no doubt about her knowing that she is loved. No struggle. You made her to be exactly who she is, God. You made her quirky and creative and loving and feeling responsible for 100% of things in the world. God, I just pray that you would pour out your love and your peace on those of us left behind. God, I pray that each person here would continue to feel Chrissy's presence, that they would continue to celebrate her. that eventually the pain that they feel when they look for her and that she's not there would be replaced with a smile as they remember how she continues to touch their lives. Jesus, thank you for loving us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so at this time, on behalf of the family, I would like to tell everyone thank you for coming here, especially people who traveled here out of state. We really appreciate your presence. I know Christine would be very honored and moved by everyone being here. Also, we have a lovely smorgasbord of food over here that the family would really appreciate you eating. So please stick around, share your stories, whatever floats your boat. We appreciate it, and thank you very much.